Here we are ready to start our wisteria piece, and before we make our blank, I wanted to explain that I'd like to have some leaves that are printed into the background on this piece before I make my blank, so imprinted into the silver sheet. So I wanted to show you how I was going to accomplish that. I've taken a piece of cardstock and I've drawn my pattern of what I want for leaves on my cardstock. The other thing that you'll notice is that there are three marks on this pattern. Those are the edges of how the blank is going to fit in the plexiglass die, and I want to put those in the pattern that I cut so that I can register the piece when I get ready to do that. So what that's going to look like is this. When I'm getting ready to dome this piece of metal, I'm going to be using this plexiglass die that I made. And so those little marks on there are registration marks. So I will be cutting those into my stencil as well so that I can get my piece lined up when I get ready to dome the blank. Okay, so I have here my favorite X-Acto knife. This is a tiny little thing. It has it's like a pen. This moves the blade up out of the piece, and then when you press the button on the top, you then your blade becomes available to you. Anyway, I really like these. They're easy to hold. It's like using a pen. All right, so I'm going to start by cutting one of these registration pieces here. And then I'm going to cut out this leaf. This leaf actually extends up past the edge of the piece. All right. I'm cutting on a self-healing cutting mat here. So I went a little bit off of my line, and I'm just going to use my artistic know-how to go ahead and finish that leaf without worrying about it. Okay, here again I've got another registration mark that I'm going to cut. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and just keep cutting these leaves. All right, one more registration hole and I'll be done here. All right, there's my pattern. Pretty cool, huh? Next, I'm going to cut a couple of pieces of silver that are the right size for using to make this blank. All right, that's about 1.5 inches. It's a big 1.5 inches. All right. So I cut 2 of these because I'm going to sandwich this piece of paper in between 2 sheets of silver. And to help me line this up, I'm going to trim down the piece of paper so that it fits exactly inside these this little sandwich. I think I'll... All right, so I have these ready to go in between my sheets of silver. And the silver that I'm working with is in pretty good shape. There's not a lot of scratches on it. If you do have scratches on it, you're going to want to put the best side towards the paper and maybe even polish it before you roll print. But try and keep your fine silver in pretty good shape so that you don't have to spend a lot of time fixing it. All right, now I'm going to go and run this through the rolling mill. Okay, I went ahead and rolled that through the rolling mill. Isn't that cool? So once this piece is enameled, you're going to see those little leaves shining up back through the enamel. The pattern has held up very well, so I probably will be able to roll print 6 with this exact same stencil. And you notice that I got 2 pieces. If these were not usable in a reverse pattern on your piece, you would want to roll a piece of scrap through the other side, but I do usually roll my paper in sandwiches so that I don't damage the rolling mill by rolling paper into the rollers and sometimes there's acids on it and different materials that might cause damage to your rolling mill. So I'm going to go ahead and roll an extra one of these right now so that when we're demoing later in the class, you'll be able to, I'll have a couple of extra ones just in case I need to demo something twice. I'm going to go and roll print a couple more, and then I'm going to press them in the hydraulic press. And if you're unfamiliar with how to do that, you're going to find that in your resources section under prepping a perfect blank. So, look at that. Is that the coolest thing ever? Now I'm just going to saw these out all around the outside. I'm going to stay on the outside of the curvature of the doming, and then file up to, or sand up to, the exact edge that I want to have it. Now this die, we cut with the laser cutter instead of me sawing it. And you can see what a perfect shape it does. So if you have access to somebody that's got a laser cutter, boy, they sure do make beautiful dies. So, okay. All right, here I am with my saw frame. This is my favorite saw frame. It's a green lion. I'm going to use a little bit of Burl Life as a lubricant for the blade. This is a 6/0.